This afternoon we're on a field of fleet meadow brome grass that looks like an ideal field where we could put some growth regulator trials on. And the reason we're interested in doing studies and doing more studies with growth regulators on grass seed crops is when we get into years where we have some fairly decent stands that were established the previous year, we've get some fairly good moisture conditions. They've had fairly high levels of fertilizer applied to them. Those kind of conditions can lead to some lodging issues during pollination. And what growth regulators will do in grass seed crops is they shorten up the inner nodes on the stems, and then they also shorten the plant height as well. And all that leads to reduced lodging when we're getting to that pollination stage. Because at the end of the day, we want high yields, we want high seed yields, but we also really want to keep that grass seed crop standing during pollination, and that basically leads to better pollination and in the end higher seed yields. So when we look at the staging of growth regulators on grass seed crops, I'd say pretty much worldwide, for the most part, they target kind of the 2-node stage or growth stage 32. That's basically what they're targeting in those countries that use it on a regular basis. So we've done some trials up here looking at targeting these growth regulators at that stage, but also some later stages as well, like even into early heading.
Today we are in the broom grass field and we are trying to do the growth staging of broom grass. To do the staging, we grab one representative tiller. I'm going to take off all the dead leaf. Get rid of all the dead leaf and the leaf coming from the crown. If you can see, this leaf is coming all the way from crown, and slowly ripping off this leaf. This is also coming from the crown. And let me see this one. This is also coming from the crown. Once you get rid of all the dead leaf and the crown leaf, and you will count the fully open leaf. So in this case we have a 4 leaf, but the fully open leaf I have 2 leaves. So if I have a 2 fully open leaf, that means we have a 2 node here. I can clearly feel here, you can see the bulging here, which is quite well above the ground level, which is first node. And I will show you the second node after peeling this leaf. So this is the first leaf. I can show you here. I get rid of this first leaf, which was the first fully open leaf, which come from the first node. So once I get rid of this first leaf, which is right here, you can see this goes all the way here, and you can see another node here, and this node is for this second fully open leaf. To count that as a growth second node stage, the 2 internode distance must be above 2 centimeter.
Sometimes trying to figure out where the 2-node stage on a creeping red fescue plant is probably maybe a little bit harder than, say, some of the other grasses like brome grasses or timothy. What we're starting to go with is basically, getting down, just taking a tiller from the base of a plant, taking it, trying to clip it off right at the ground level, okay? And then we're basically going to pull away these dead leaves. We're going to pull away this leaf away as well, and you can see it actually detached from the base of the plant very easily. So what we're left with now is 2 leaves. We will call that the 2-leaf stage. Now if we look at things a little bit closer, we actually have a node right here, which is actually really evident, okay? And it's actually moved up, that's what, maybe 2 or 3 2 inches above the ground. And even though we can't feel it right now, there is another node there. And then we actually dissected this leaf over here and took it off, and we can basically see the second node right there. It's quite a bit harder to feel for the most part, because those second and third nodes on a fescue plant get a little bit tougher to see when we're targeting or trying to figure out the 2-node stage. I basically pull away those bottom dead leaves from the base of the plant, count the leaves. At the end of the day, if we're feeling a node down here, we're probably at the 2-node stage, which is actually a really good time to be applying that growth regulator to the field. We haven't really had access to some of the growth regulators in Western Canada till recently, so now there's 2 of them. There's Trinexabec ethyl, which is Modus, which is distributed by Syngenta. And then there's another one, chloromaclot chloride, which is Manipulator, which is registered on a couple cereals in Western Canada. So now we have a little more access to some of these products. But overall, when we looked at, the 6 or 8 trials that we've done up here in the Peace Country over the last couple of years, we do find when we're putting on our growth regulators, more so at that 2-node stage, very typical to the time that we're applying a herbicide on our field as well. They're definitely a little more effective at reducing lodging and plant heights, particularly when we're getting into pollination, and basically have seen better seed yields as well when they're put on at that stage versus, say, the early heading stage.